So after all that, and Matt becomes head of household, I knew Matt was going to put the two of you up, and I knew that y'all had proposed a deal with him. I knew he wasn't going to take, or that he said that he didn't take it.
Yeah.
So I knew what was up, and there was nothing that I could do to change it.
No. I guess we didn't think Matt had said something to the order of not putting us up if both of us couldn't compete in HOH, I guess. So that's what we took it as. But like I said, whatever. I knew Matt at some point would go for us again, so that wasn't a big surprise. I mean, whatever happened again. I can't play this game. None of us can play this game
Right.
in the past anyways.
So from my perspective, after that challenge, because I mean, keep in mind, Matt, and of course, I'm going to defend Matt's actions because Matt is my friend.
Yeah.
Matt is the reason why one of you didn't go home.
Yeah.
Week 3.
I totally agree.
Right.
Yeah.
And when he makes a deal, he stands by it.
Yeah.
So anyways, like, then when things really started, like, getting heated was the stuff in the cabana, because I felt like Rachel kept implying to people alliance, which I thought was a really shitty thing to do, given that, number one, it's not true. Matt is my closest friend.
Sure.
But we've never, ever once said, oh, we're the final two together, or this, that.
Sure.
We have each other's backs just as you would have anybody's backs in this game, just as I had your backs in that surf challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You look after the people who you think are not going to come after you.
Yeah, I agree.
So when she kept on, well, first she came in and I was like, this is not a conversation for me to have. Like, this is a conversation that you want to have with Matt. We are not a group.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. And she was like, no, you should stay. And she kept saying it. The implication was still, no, y'all are an alliance. You are an alliance. I was like, Rachel, enough. I'm not an alliance. And I really started to get the impression that both of you thought that somehow I was in Matt's ear saying, oh no, you have to put them up.
Yeah.
This was not a group decision.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it was a group decision the house was making. And I could work magic week 3. Beyond that, there was no magic for me to work.
Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to take anything personally. I mean, having you said all of that, I mean, just running through it real fast. I mean, the whole Andrew thing, I still don't know what was up with Andrew. I did feel for him, and I liked him. I thought we were cool, and I thought we were friends, and I thought he wouldn't have put Rachel and I up. But then when you said what you did, and I mean, some of the other stuff, I still wasn't sure. I thought maybe part of it was him just trying to tell everybody that he was after us and gunning after us just so nobody put him up. In that respect, since I guess it was a group mentality that everybody wanted us out.
Well, see, and there's another piece of that story.
Yeah.
So another thing that made me think the two of you have a deal that you have completely cut me out of and not let me have any information about is Andrew and I were talking in the have-not room when it was just the two of us. And I told him straight up, because I had a conversation with him in a cabana a few days before, and I told him, look, I respect and admire the way that you play the game. Like, I haven't 100% made up my mind, but I would like to see you stay.
Sure.
And then when the tide started to turn, I had a conversation with, like, when he was saying the shit, like, I'm going to put Brendon on slop. I want to see him out. I'm going to go after Brendon and Rachel. So I had a conversation with him. I'm like, look, I don't agree with the things that you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that it's...
And what did he say when you said all that?
He said, Brendon hasn't had a talk with you?
Really?
I said, what? He goes, you and Brendon haven't talked about this? I said, no. He goes, I love Brendon. You need to have a talk with him.
Wow. Andrew was a pretty confusing person. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, him and I were totally cool. Like, everything was good. I was going to vote for him, like, 100%. When he said, that's what I'm saying, when he said the thing in the POV, I still didn't quite buy it. And I thought that we were still good. And the thing that I didn't quite understand was when you said, like, he was saying I was going on slop, like, he was going out of his way. So I thought he was just trying to stay in this game. I thought he was trying not to let people think that him and I were cool, because he almost felt like we were a virus, that if he associated with us, that was going to be another reason for people to vote him out.
See, my perspective on it, especially after that conversation with Andrew, is that y'all were working together.
Okay.
And the game plan was do everything you can to make it seem like you're not working together.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's actually what Rachel and I had been doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we can't hang out that much. Yeah. We can't, because if that happens, then people are going to put us up together. They're going to, you know, like, it's not. So I have no problem with that strategy.
Yeah.
My problem was with the feeling of, I am working with you guys. I've just gone out on a big limb to make sure that the two of you stay in this game.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why I'm being cut out of this. It just seemed very suspect to me.
Yeah.
So anyways, to get a little bit further, where things get personal between the two of us.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have a long history, a long emotional history.
And I do want to, I mean, it was more impetuous for putting you guys as have-nots. So I am, honestly, I know it's not easy for you, and I know it's not easy for anyone being a have-not. So, I mean...
It sucks. It is what it is.
I know.
I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be depressed in a basket case for a couple days.
Well,
that's just
you're more than welcome to come up and
hang
hang up here, too.
Thanks. But more was, like I said, I understand why you were doing what you were doing last week, because you wanted to see Rachel stay in the game.
Absolutely. Which
I think is definitely chivalrous.
Yeah, and the POV stuff was just to get you guys to hate me. That was purely to get you guys to hate me. When I came out in the hammock, I really was genuinely upset because Rachel was so upset, and that was hard for me to watch.
Well, that's a different conversation too.
Okay.
So different people are going to respond to different things in different ways, given their history.
Yeah.
And given what I have been through in my life, for somebody who I've cried to about the experiences that I've had being bullied, to then turn around and bully me, when truly, Brendon, and I mean this from the heart, I think I am guilty in this game of being friends with the people that I'm friends with. And that includes the two of you.
Yeah.
That's the trouble that I've gotten into this game, whether I was friends with Kristen or Matt or the two of you. That's why I am seated in the position that I'm seated in right now. Yeah. It's not for telling lies or for doing anything like that. So the minute I started being bullied, that immediately made me shut down.
Sure.
And I felt like the conversation that I was having with Rachel in the hammock, not in the hammock, in the cabana, when you came in the way you did, that to me was bullying behavior.
Okay.
And this was Rachel, somebody who from day one I've been friends with.
Yeah.
And we were having a heated conversation, but it was not me attacking her.
Well, I honestly, I wasn't gonna go in there. When I thought it was you and Rachel, I wasn't going there. When it was Matt, I for some reason thought it was like you and Matt like trying to.
No, and Matt wasn't even saying
that's
anything.
what was. I know. And afterwards, I realized that in retrospect that that was it. But when I thought it was you and her, I was perfectly fine, because Brittany was the one who told me. She's like, "Oh, Ragan and Rachel are going at it in there." I'm like, "Okay." She's a big girl. She can handle herself. You know what I mean? And I know you guys can have a conversation no matter how heated it gets. I wasn't going to go in there. But when I found out that Matt was in there too, that's when I thought maybe I thought it was you two on her, and that's when
it just wasn't the case.
Yeah, I know.
And then I felt like, okay, so now then you came back out to the kitchen and start saying that it's 2-on-1 and we're bullying her, and I'm like, that is not the case.
I know.
You know what I mean? So once again, I feel like, okay, like I've gone out and out and out and out, and now I feel like I'm being slapped in the face for doing those things.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the conversation in the hammock, and I'm sorry, I have to get through all of this stuff just because...
Yeah, well, we got nothing else here.
Right. The conversation in the hammock follows a couple of days where I can't have the conversation.
Sure.
And in fact, the first thing that I explained to Rachel when the conversation in the hammock was going down was me needing a few days before we had the conversation was not punishment. It wasn't me trying to make her feel small. This is me being totally self-aware that when I am pissed off about something or at somebody, if I go into it when my nerves are still very sensitive, my history tells me that the kind of like the knots in the rope course, I will go backward and cause more knots. I will get caught up in the minutia of things, and it's not the time to have a conversation with me. So that's how the conversation started. Where things just went off was Rachel's version of events versus my version of events. And like I said, you can say whatever you want about me. I call it like I see it. And there was a night where I think it was like a few nights before, she'd asked to have a conversation with me. And I said, not now, just not now. And she went into the diary room, and I was in the kitchen sitting at the table with Enzo. She comes out of the diary room. She's staring at me the whole time, just like maniacally laughing. Just completely strange behavior. She stops where the stools are, turns around, starts laughing at me again, and you can totally ask Enzo. This is how it went down. Pushes the chair in, starts laughing more, then walks outside, and I'm sure you were outside, so you probably heard it yourself, and then told everybody I didn't even have to say anything to him.
I didn't even hear that.
So when I was like, what was that about? She said to me, that never happened. I said, Rachel, yeah, it did happen. Like, Enzo was there when you did the laughing thing in the kitchen, and then you came outside and said it to a group of people. And Brittany was one of the people who was outside. She's like, Rachel, because I clearly wasn't outside. I was told about it. So it was like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. Like, I can talk to somebody. I can talk through my problems if we can at least agree on a common reality of what happened. But that wasn't the case. And there was no raised voices in the hammock. I even asked if I could hold her hand when I was having the conversation with her. And I am sometimes a painfully direct person, but that's just part of my nature. Like, I call it like I see it. And she got up, left, was upset, and then you came at me. And that's, again, I think, defending Rachel.
And that was personal. And again, I mean, I knew it wasn't hurting, hopefully, my chances of going home. At that point, because I did want her to stay here. Like, I knew she wanted it, and it's emotional at times that she had been over the top with everything. She really did want to be here, and, you know. Same way you guys wanted. I mean, same way you wanted to be here. I want to be here more than anybody, especially now. But I felt like she deserved it more, and I'm in love with her. So it's like it wasn't a question. I would totally be willing to, you know. So, well, and the personal stuff, I'm sorry. Like, I really am legitimately, and Brittany comes up here, I'm going to apologize to her for all the, especially the POV stuff. That was totally, I knew she took it and it really upset her, but that was just to me free. I wanted to look like the bad guy. And it sucked because it's not me, it's not my personality, but I had no problem doing it because I thought it would send me home.